Hello, welcome to Team Fortress TV. It's been a while, guys, it really has, but we've got some European action lined up for you tonight. So, let's get right into it. My name's Sideshow, with me is Bren. I know you're all hyped for the Brencast. How you doing, Bren?
Yeah, not too bad. A lot of pressure being put on me.
There's no pressure at all, Bren. There's no pressure. You just have to, we're just going to wind you up like a monkey and let you loose, and you slap your symbols together and get on with whatever the job is.
I don't have a clue of what my flatmate thinks of me. I haven't told her, like, that I commentate video games on the internet. So, like, they're just, like, watching TV next door, and they can just hear me, like, screaming over air shots and shit. And they just haven't said a word to me.
It's interesting that you should say that. I used to do that from my dining table when I lived with my parents, because I used to have my setup on my dining table, and whenever they had people round, I would never realize because I was focused on the game, but they would be like bringing in guests, and the guests would like look at me in the dining room like, what's going on? Why is he just screaming at a computer screen? And they go, no, don't worry, he doesn't have a mental problem. He's just talking to his friends online.
just commentating video games to his friends
exactly.
online. Yeah.
Well, whilst it might seem strange to other people, I certainly appreciate what you're doing, and I think we're going to have an incredibly enjoyable cast tonight. DavidTheWin is on production, so you know that we're going to be catching all of the big moments, and I imagine there are going to be quite a few big moments because we've got some big names lined up. This is the grand final of the ETF2L Preseason 24 Cup here, so we're playing some interesting maps, some of them new, some of them just slight alterations on maps that you've seen previously. But it's the teams that I'm really interested in. We're going to be seeing the new roster for DD plus 5 abs featuring Admirable, Django, Feeling, etc. And they are going up against a new ETF2L team with some fantastic old talent, veterans of the German scene. We're talking happy farmers here with names such as Shocky, Bash, Brago. I mean, this is going to be a phenomenal match.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I have no clue how this is going to go at all. These maps that are being played as well, Reckoner, Metalworks hasn't been seen for absolute donkey's years, long before my time. But honestly, this is going to be crazy. They did play each other before, correct me if I'm wrong. They did, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
DD5 versus Happy Farmers. DD5 ended up losing. I'm just going to get up the scoreline quickly now. So it was 1-3 to the side of Happy Farmers on Reckoner, and basically a 4-0 on the side of Happy Farmers once again on Metalworks. So whether or not they've changed anything around since then, I understand that you tell me that they have been scrimming, both these teams taking it very seriously.
Yeah,
so,
I think they have, which is, it's kind of strange. I mean, we don't have a prize pool for this. This is kind of just for teams to get practiced on. I mean, Happy Farmers are going to want all the practice they can get in official situations because they're going to be going into, they're trying to take this team into Premiership next season. But this is a very full Premiership, Bren. One of the biggest things about this season, season 24, that we're about to go into, is that there's only one spot for a new team. That's almost unheard of in Europe. Normally there's so many shuffles, so many teams changing around, folding, etc. This season is so stable. There's only Foreskings that have folded from last season and Planet Express, but Foreskings were being relegated anyway. So Bags of 5 have got that confirmed spot, and there's one spot left for teams to be fighting over. So there must, I think, be some kind of preseason playoff that the admins have planned, and Happy Farmers are going to want to absolutely pound in that. So with names like Shocky and Bash and Brago, and even Thune has played at the top level before, even though he was cut. They've got Damn Easy on Roma and Relior, who used to play for Lemmings, on Pocket. This team is going to want to be in Premiership, and the best way to do that is to practice and take it super seriously. So I've just seen them playing scrims just before this, practicing Snakewater, which is the decider map as well, so they aren't taking any chances. They know that if it goes to a decider, they're going to be practiced on the new version of Snake.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking about this new version of Snakewater, there's not too many differences, really, is there? I mean, they've widened a few of the gaps, but overall it plays the exact same as the Snakewater that we all know and love. So yeah, it can't be.
It's pretty much the one that's changed the least out of the 3 maps we're going to be looking at. So there's Reckoner to start it off, a completely brand new map, has a lot of interesting stuff that you wouldn't really expect as part of a sixes map. The mid is very sunken into the ground, second caps incredibly quickly, the last point is very open and allows for a forward lobby hold. It's very interesting. It has a lot of a lot of variation to it that you don't often see in other maps. So I'm excited to see how that one plays out in an actual serious setting, because the only other feedback that it's got is from high-level pugs or people who are looking through the map and seeing how it might theoretically play out. And then the second map is going to be Metalworks. Now that one is played currently in ESEA. However, it is pretty much the overall most hated map in the ESEA map rotation. So it's a bit of a strange one to put in this cup, I think. It was tried out in, I believe, season 17, something like that, of ETF2L. So it has been quite a while, about 2 years before we've played this map. Since we've played this map, sorry. And I mean, it's always an odd one. It's very choky. There's potential for some very long stalemates, but the heavy classes, the spam classes, can absolutely reign supreme. So it'll be interesting to see that one, the matchup between Feeling and DD5 against Relio, and Damn Easy. And then, as you say, Snakewater, which has really just had some very small alterations.
Yeah, honestly, Metalworks, not a clue how that's going to play out. I've never casted a game on Metalworks. I've watched it very rarely when I've caught up on ESEA and things like that, but it's definitely going to be a first for me anyway, casting that, as well as Reckoner, which is no surprise, as it is one of the newest maps. And as you said, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays in this very serious competitive format, whereas we've really only seen it in pugs and things. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what these teams can make to with these maps, especially, as you mentioned, Metalworks hasn't been played since season 17. It's going to be interesting to see, because I know there's a few, like I don't really know. I mean, how would you describe it being like its play style? How is it similar to other maps that some of us may know?
Reckoner?
Metalworks.
Oh, Metalworks, right, okay.
Yeah.
So the map that I would consider Metalworks most similar to is kind of Granary. It's got those kind of similar choke points where they're really locked off. It segments the map into really quite defined areas.
Yeah.
And the last point is pretty difficult to get into. It has some pretty small choke points, and the enemy team ends up holding very far back. So if you're popped at one of the chokes, it's a long time. It's the large proportion of your Ubercharge has disappeared by the time you get to the defending medic and try and force them. So it can be a very difficult a very difficult map to get aggression going on. And so it can lead to a lot of back and forth, a lot of stalemates, but the mid-fight, to me, is actually quite interesting. In a similar vein to Granary, really. The original Granary, the mid-fight, in my opinion, was the most interesting thing about it. And the mid-fight on Metalworks, you have two choke points that are very closed off. So you have the bottom area and the top left, which are very close. The demo can, if they're quick to the mid-fight, can really close out those areas very quickly. And then you have the valley, which is slightly more open, but if you end up getting funneled out in that area, there really isn't an opportunity to get back. So you frequently see these double high bombs from the roaming soldiers, really to open things up. Scouts can play underneath the point as well as on top, and the demo has a lot of opportunities as well. So that one can be very interesting to see how teams play the mid-fight. But really, outside of mid, I don't really like it as a map. I think if any of these maps were, well, obviously the new Snakewater change, should it become official, would be added to the ETF2L season. But I think Reckoner has the most promise out of these maps for being replaced, for being put into the new season, replacing Sunshine. I think it's had a very good reception in Europe. It hasn't had a very good reception in North America, to my knowledge. People really dislike it there. I think they get flashbacks of Yukon when they look at the mid and they see the depressed capture point into the floor. And I think the pug scene in North America at the top level at the moment is slightly less serious, so teams just they haven't really engaged with the map as much as they have in Europe. But I think it does show promise, but we'll see here how it pans out for these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on from that, we could talk a little bit about Reckoner, as you mentioned. It's a map that, as we've been mentioning throughout this entire cast so far, really only being played in pubs, in the pugs, sorry. Really not taken as seriously in NA compared to EU. I have seen a few Prem double mixes on Reckoner being played and whatnot, so I'd imagine you guys have been delivering some great feedback in that regard. But talking a little bit about this map, how do you feel like it plays compared to other maps as well? If I was to go back to the same question I asked before, Sideshow.
Well, it has been picked up by the Premiership circle quite fondly, as you said. There's a lot of enjoyment playing this map, a lot of excitement to have a new map in the pool, and people really want to pug this map in Europe. I frequently get requests to organize double mixes or pugs or whatever on this map because people want to try it out and enjoy the flow of the map. So in terms of how it compares to other maps in the pool at the moment, I'm not sure whether there really is one, if I'm perfectly honest. The flow is unlike a lot of the other maps because it has some interesting quirks. Now, I don't know whether David's in the server at the moment where teams are just joining up and could maybe give you guys a fly around as I talk through some stuff. I don't know. He's just going to spec some players who are looking, so you can get a feel of the map if you guys haven't played it or pugged it before. But the last point is really wide and open. It gives you some hints of Warmfront even, but Warmfront had a really terrible problem with choke points and having to enter through them. Whereas in Reckoner, the defending team really only has two options. You can hold forwards in lobby and try and lock off these smaller choke points, but you leave yourself exposed if they take an aggressive Uber trade in, or you get people behind for a backup or something like that. Or you can sit really passive. You can sit almost by the spawn, bait them onto the point, and then try and fight them there. So the attackers have a lot of options. If they can manage to make their way into the lobby, they have a huge amount of room to play with. You can get a lot of interesting sniping angles. You can try and make picks on one side of the flank and quickly rotate to another. Sentries are quite easily dealt with, so I don't think we'll see very many stalemates. We might see a few failed attempts at pushing last, but I don't think we're going to see these classic last point stalemates where teams are just sat around choke points trying to trade sniper picks or something like that. Yeah. Another point to note as well is that the last point does cap quite slowly. It's a large capture point, and because of how open it is, the mapmaker Fee has made that cap fairly slowly compared to second, which caps relatively quickly. So even something as strange as backcapping as a way to defend last is pretty useful as a strategy, because second I think caps at almost exactly the same speed as the last point. So there's a lot of interesting ways you can play the last point defense. In terms of second point as well, there's a lot of entrances, but they really only boil down to three things. There's an underneath area, there's a cargo room on the right hand side from the defender's perspective, and there's a toxic room from the left hand side defender's perspective. And so the cargo room seems to operate a bit more like your main area, with an area underneath that you can also take Ubers through and potentially get flanked by. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, especially with the midpoint being underneath as well, because it allows you to repush the mid much easier than in other maps, because you know that they have at least one player committed down onto the low ground where they can't properly take a fight. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for teams to play this in a totally different way than you see in any other map in the pool, which I think is something great. It means that you can't just copy paste your tactics from Badlands onto every map that you find, which might hurt Happy Farmers in this. They did draw earlier with Backget Foolery on this map and had to win that map in an overtime situation. But if you can't just copy and paste strats from other 5CP maps, or you may get caught out, you know, when pushing last or defending second, or in fights on mid where you have to commit players to the low ground. If you can't just copy and paste those strats that they're going to be perfectly comfortable with from seasons gone by, then these players are going to have to adapt a little bit to play Reckoner. And I'm feeling the main calls here from DD+5 Abs. They've got Mastermind Admirable on the team, who's going to be throwing a few gimmicks in the pool, I'm sure.
Excellent. I mean, can you see these sort of maps being played? We talked about the maps, the mid points and the last points and whatnot, but can you see off classes happening quite regularly, more so than other maps on this, such as like sniper, spy plays stuff? You mentioned how it is quite. Well, you didn't. I don't think you mentioned how it was difficult to push into last, but the slow cap time, could that really force some different change in tactics? I know. Generally, that is the tactic, off-classing.
Yeah, normally off-classing is the tactic to break these kind of stalemates, but I really don't think that it's that effective on this map. Fee's done a really good job of locking off a lot of the overpowered sniper sightlines. Although you could snipe into last or to defend last, I don't think it's particularly going to be overpowered. I don't think it's something that teams are going to have to run, although a sniper on defense at this last point would be excellent, because it, you know, as I said, it's very wide open. There's a lot of angles that you can take, and you can instantly swap back to spawn. So we may see something like that. In terms of sniping on other points in the map, if we're thinking about a map like Gully Wash, where people used to run a lot of sniper, or even process, where teams like the I-55 Nerd Rage used to run almost a full-time sniper. I don't think we're going to see that on Reckoner. Reckoner has a lot of locked off visibility on the midpoint. This raised bridge does cut off a lot of the sightlines, and you have the two large crates as well. You really can't see much from the slope area, and even if you play back from Toxic, you have to be committed fairly far forwards in order to have decent sightlines, and that's really only one jump away from a soldier who wants to close you out, and it's not that easy to back off. So, in my opinion, I don't think we'll be seeing a full-time sniper, or if we do, it'll purely be because the teams want to run sniper rather than thinking the map is good for it. So, in terms of other off classes as well, I don't think Sentry is going to be that useful on last, although it is potentially plausible. It's just very easy for soldiers to double spam you down from the other side of the map because the Sentry doesn't have that large a range, and it is a very large last point. But it's going to be interesting to see just how these teams play it, in my opinion, just using the default cookie cutter classes, because there's so much potential for new things for them to come up with new things on a map like this. But they are trickling into the server. We just saw one of the players leave from Happy Farmers. Other than that, they were 12 on. That was, who's that? Shocky that disappeared there. So he'll be coming back on the server, and we'll be getting started fairly shortly here for our grand final of the ETF2L Preseason 24 Cup.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's going to be a hell of a game. Very interesting to watch. If I was to squeeze a prediction out of you that you could potentially drag out to 90 seconds while we wait for the game to start, what would you say?
If these were, no, I'm gonna give it to DD plus 5 abs. I think you have to look at their previous performance against Happy Farmers on these same two maps and say that they got beaten before, so you should be favoring Happy Farmers. But I think with a little bit of experience on these maps, DD plus 5 abs do have the quality of players to take both of these, and I think they're gonna want it more. This is a team that are trying to come together and play next season, and have made some roster changes in order to beef their team up. They performed fairly well last season, although they had a few upset results. You know, I don't know whether the 4th place result they got at the end of the season was necessarily indicative of their overall consistent performance, but they made it happen. And this should be the 4th best team in Europe playing against a newly formed team of rusty players. So one would think that DD5 abs should be able to take this, but Happy Farmers have proved they could do it before. I've got to give it to DD plus 5 abs though. I think they're going to be able to take this if they can just shut down Brago. I think he's really the pivotal player here for the German team. The scouts of Shocky and Bash, I think they should be able to deal with them fairly simply on Reckoner if they keep an eye on where Shocky's going at all times, but Brago is just an absolute monster. He's going to be hitting things all over the place.
Yeah, I want to agree with you, but like as you said, I mean, DD5 are definitely a team who are going to be wanting this win. A lot of pride on the line, and they're going to be wanting for that Premiership spot. As we did mention earlier, there is only that one Premier spot available. So, I mean, there's a lot on the line here other than pride. It's really just proving that you are capable of being a Premiership team. So, and I can definitely see that DD5 are the kind of team that would be working on their mistakes, looking back at the game they've had before with this team, Happy Farmers, and working out the kinks and really seeing what they went wrong. So, yeah, I think you're definitely onto something there with the prediction that DD5 are probably going to clinch it in the end. And then, as you mentioned, they definitely got the players for it. A lot of capable players, in fact. I'm definitely excited to see this game kicking off quite soon, and I believe it is. We do have the 90 seconds countdown, so the game has begun in real time. We are just waiting for the STV to catch up. But if I was to give it a scoreline prediction, I would probably say I definitely don't think it's going to be a roll by any means to DD5, but something more along the lines of possibly 4-2 to the side of DD5.
Another interesting storyline for this one, Bren, is just how these two teams are going to match up next season of ETF2L in Prem if they do manage to get in Happy Farmers. Because DD plus 5 abs, they they're a team that have made some roster changes that not everybody agrees is actually going to make them stronger. They've brought in Django to replace Ixie, which I think is fair enough, but they've lost QNX and Honey, who were really a driving force for their team. That combo was doing so much work for them. Replace them with Admirable and Feeling, which is, I think, a worse combo. I'm not even going to try and make it prettier or tie it up in bows or whatever. I just genuinely think it's a worse combo for them. So I think they've got a bit to prove there. So Admirable and Feeling, you've got a lot to prove. However, Shappy, I'm expecting big things from the Shap. Let's go though. We have gone live with our first map. This is Happy Farmers against DD plus 5 abs. Both of these teams want the win to secure their spot, or secure the pride. And we're going to be watching the... I think we're going to watch the DD plus 5 abs team. We're going to watch the eponymous DD plus DD5F. Oh, he's actually taking the lower route here and up onto Thune. He's going to slam him
already. Yeah, looking at that, DD5 straight onto Fun and gets that medic pick. Absolutely incredible by him. Bash is actually behind enemy lines, picks up one frag. Django also picking up Shocky as well, but Bash is really doing his best to fend them off. A lot of pipes coming out and a lot of damage already by the side of, how do you even pronounce that name? I have no idea, but it looks like DD5 are slowly clinching this out. Brago is going to follow suit by dying as well. So this is going to be a mid-fight 1 to the side of DD5.
Damiz is the only player left alive, and he's kind of hanging out in this lower area. I'm not sure what he's planning. I think he's found his perfect hiding spot here. The Shadow doesn't appear to go through the wall, but the rest of their team is going to come toxic, so they're going to see him instantly. Surely! No! Damiz, he's managed to find his way in! Puts a bit of damage onto Django, but can't finish off the frag. And Shappy's there to make sure that no casualties for the DD plus 5 abs team, who are now swarming forwards. Find a pick on the pocket as well. So
goodness,
looking great here to take the round with a full, well, now a 40% Uber charge advantage, but it's going to be as good as full because they're storming in, Bren.
Looking at this now, yeah, Uber pops straight away. They do try and get that sniper off class, but it's all for nothing as Brago is the first to fall to the side of Showbig.
They're on the left-hand side just piling damage into them, seeing what they can do. Both of the soldiers here of DD5F and Feeling are doing as well as they can, just slamming the damage in, but Damiz is soaking up so much of that, and finally the Uber is popped off and they're going to have to call the retreat. And DD plus 5 abs have managed to get out of there with 40% on Admirable, so they do have an Uber charge advantage, but this looks like some aggression coming out from Happy Farmers. They want to go forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. That Damiz off-classing to the heavy really paying off in fullest there. Django is currently behind enemy lines in that lower area, but this is looking like a second cap now for the side of the easy farmers. Django's still behind.
Oh, look at
now.
Django.
They haven't spotted him at all. We're going to see if he can make anything happen. And it's, look at him. He's still behind them. Can he pick up 1 beat shot, 2 beat shots, picking up Fun? It's an easy pick for him, and it's going to be absolutely crucial for the repush now as DD5 looking to take this all the way. Rayla's very far forward, and he's been completely caught out. Eventually following suit. That's 4 down now to the side of easy farmers, and oh my goodness, DD5, they've got the advantage, and they're definitely going to play off it now, Sideshow, as they're pushing straight into last.
And Bash is stuck in lower as well, so he's going to have to try and flank and meet up with the rest of their team, but the Uberchargers come in. This Ubercharge advantage that Admirable had coming in so well there. They swarm onto the point and cap that one off. So excellent stuff from DD plus 5 abs. The flank from Django there just set them up perfectly. But you can see how Happy Farmers were able to push out fairly easily from last when they had that 2-pick advantage or something. So they're playing very aggressively from the defense on this last point. I want to see something different from Happy Farmers on mid though, because they were only playing on this right hand side around the blue shed. So let's see what their soldiers can do. See if they can match up from DD5's
absolutely. Shappy, he's got so low. He's actually just absolute sliver of HP. Does manage to get an arrow, but Damiz, he already with the bomb in. Big bomb from DB5. Brago actually falling as well. Feeling also going into the bomb in. Does manage to fall as well, but picking up Rayla at the same time, who picks up a massive shot onto him, and the aggression is still there from the Happy Farmers. Unfortunately, Django picking up that frag onto Rayla as they're trying to make something happen. Shocky following suit as well, and now it's just Bash behind these enemy lines. Fun has managed to get out of this mid-fight with that fat Uber advantage to defend last of, but ultimately DD5 really securing the win here on that mid again.
Shappy is so far ahead of his team here. This is one of the problems with Shappy, is that sometimes he just gets a little ahead of himself, but he set up that perfect sticky trap, unfortunately just a few seconds too late onto Damiz, but Django's going to start pressuring him back as the players come in from cargo, but it is equal Ubers. They found the pick on the pocket, though. Relia down, and with Damiz half health as well. Unfortunately, they've lost both of their scouts here, so they're going to have to back things up, and we're going to see whether they can stalemate it, or whether the Happy Farmers are going to be able to push in through one of these entrances.
Absolutely. Now, looking at this, so much spam being exchanged from both sides. DD5 getting that big bomb onto the side of Shocky. Does manage to pick him up. Uber's exchanged now as well. And I think Happy Farmers want nothing to do with it. They're backing all the way out. They've actually managed to catch Brago as well. That's going to be an absolute vital pickup. And they're going to see if they can make anything happen now. There's a lot of spam being exchanged, feeling really just getting a feel for this second point. Spamming themselves in, and they're slowly working their way all the way in, quite deep now. Damn it, behind enemy lines! Actually completely gets the drop on them. I didn't even spot him, he was right behind my camera, but he managed to pick up Admirable anyway. Ridiculous pick, and that is going to be an Uber advantage on the side of
They're just
going to
go for it though, Bren. It looks like DD plus 5 abs are just going to commit to this one. Oh, they look like they were going to, but Shappy takes a little bit of damage. Now they're going in. DD5F is putting a lot of damage on the Thune, and Shappy comes in and finishes him off. They're all so weak here on the DD plus 5 abs team. It's only Admirable left alive. They sacked in 5 players there for Thune, but they did manage to pick him up, so they're going to be able to hold mid with these spawners, I think, and the equal Ubers. I'm not sure whether that was the best play, if I'm honest. If they sacked 5 players in there, they're going to be able to hold the midpoint with equal Ubers, but if they just kept their players alive and met up with Admirable, they may have been able to force a fight on second. You
say equal Ubers, but Fun hasn't managed to heal anyone until now. Yeah, Admirable's brought up this massive advantage, and he's actually running Kritzkrieg, so we're going to see some fat plays hopefully coming out now on the side of them coming out now. DD5 really trying to secure that advantage and any momentum, and this is really, as you said, Sideshow, the gimmicks that Admirable likes to play, these little mind games that he's thrown them off, like,
oh, this isn't going to be expected at all either, Bren. They don't have a clue.
Coming straight in now, Feeling actually picks up, oh my god, Shappy picking up that double kill onto Fun and Bash. What a ridiculous sticky, sniping them across the map there. Absolutely crazy stuff. Shocky is one man against the world, as he's eventually going to fall to DD5, and it's just damn easy behind these enemy lines. He cannot do anything, surely, as he's trying to make something happen. Gets off one rock onto Admirable, doesn't manage to pick up the second, and this is going to be
too close.
Easy second point capped now for the side of DD5.
I was about to praise DD plus 5 abs for their excellent blobbing strategies. When they know that they're in a team fight, they just get everybody together. They're playing with both soldiers together and Schoberg in there. But as soon as Damisi bumped in, Admirable was nearly taken out instantly. So they need to work on that slightly more. They're trying to make their way into lobby now. But the issue for them is that they know the crits is coming. They know that Admirable has the crits, and they know they have it in about 5 seconds. So they have set up a sentry gun, which obviously impervious to the crits, and they also have Shocky on sniper. So this is an excellent defense here from Happy Farmers. We'll have to see if Shocky can pull some magic out the bag like that last first sticky.
Absolutely, and here comes the crits now. They're going to try and pick up any players they can. Actually picking up Rayla, actually. Oh, damn easy as well on the flank. Trying to make something happen. Django finishes him up. That's 2 picks. Shappy has fallen, however, so that's no damage to really spam out that sentry. But it looks like they still want to play this. Brago very far forward, actually dropping to half health on a sliver of HP. He can get taken down so easily. Shocky actually picking up Schoberg there, and they're following up frag onto Django. And I think this is DD5. They want nothing to do with this, as they're looking to really back out of any more casualties, Sideshow.
There's definitely going to be casualties incoming though, because here comes the Ubercharge. Thune and Aurelio leading it forwards, and everyone's getting stuffed back into Toxic. Surely they can find a pick here. No, they've just managed to pressure them out, and it's actually Brago that drops. So they've lost Brago, and Admirable's about to have the crits up as well. It looks like Shappy wants to come forward with it from Toxic. Ooh, Thun manages to pop that one off just in time there, and they find the pick on the roaming soldier of DD5F. So interesting stuff. Shappy's left some crit stickies as well in Toxic. And now Admirable's just going to be calling for his team that they want to be farming up this Ubercharge advantage, or rather the Kritzkrieg advantage, and then farming the Happy Farmers, because Shappy is going to be loving this one. The fact that they've been stuck on crits now for a while just gives him opportunity after opportunity to make a huge play, and it only takes one huge play for them to roll it to last and get themselves 2-0 on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is looking at to build up this Kritzkrieg, and they look like they want to play this so far forward. Damn easy. Goes in for a nice little bomb attempt there, and he's actually behind enemy lines. Can he make anything happen here? Is going to get taken down by Schoberg, unfortunately. But I thought for a second there that he was going to be making some beautiful plays. And there's quite a few players that are quite weak, playing very passive now. The Happy Farmers. Bash is on absolutely no health at all. Actually gets sniped across the map by Django, and here comes the crits being popped. Unfortunately, not making anything. As look at this, the counter push coming in from lower. The Uber is eventually popped out by the side of the Happy Farmers. And they're going to be cleaning up these players, or at least trying to, but they haven't found any anyone. DD5 kiting them for absolute days, and they could really play off this aggression now if they play this correctly. Schoberg's dropped so weak. Brago picking them up in the end, feeling with that forward bomb, picking up Raylor. 3 down now on the side of the Happy Farmers. 4 down. Actually make that. A few of them have got spawners, but damn easy, and Raylor being down. No soldiers. It's going to create a lot of room now to breathe Sideshow for the side of DD5.
The problem with that was the positioning of Bash and Shocky as they were trying to kite the crits as it came in. They just got picked by the flank, completely baited out by their combo, but it was the poor positioning from both of the scouts rather than the poor decision making from the combo. But here comes Admirable, only on 20 health, but still has the crits, and Chappie's going to get another one. In it comes. Crits Creek getting popped. Is he going to be able to find anything? No, because Admirable goes down almost instantly to damn easy, and the players just have slivers of health on everybody here. It's Chappie against the world, and he can't quite manage it. Shocky and Damizi are going to be able to clutch that defense, and purely due to the fact that Admirable was so weak going in. If he'd managed to just take a moment, get a health kit, and then push in, he wouldn't have dropped to a spam rocket, or rather, I don't think he dropped, but wouldn't have died to the spam rocket, and they would have been able to have an excellent crits going in. As it is, though, it's still 1-0, and DD plus 5 abs have been pushed back to mid once again. They just cannot crack this last point with their crits creek, and on that vein, Admirable has switched back to the medigun.
Yeah. So now it's going to be really interesting to see, because this is the first real example that we have seen where both teams are really holding with this barely equal advantage. But now the tide of the battle is slowly starting to turn, as we do see Fun on the Crits Creek building it up, and he may have, in fact I think the faster building is going to come into effect here. They are going to have this before them, but is it going to be enough? They're building it pretty much the exact same time, as they're not really building this up, so they need to get an absolutely ridiculous crit sticky off, or any crits at all to make anything happen. Brago in that low area, Spang them out. Uber actually popped in. DD5 taking the initiative here. They're going to look for any frags they can, and this is literally a god's gift to the side of the Happy Farmers. They can get some crits taken off, and indeed it does. Picking up Shappy, picking up Admirable, and Schoberg, following up Damn Easy, picking up DD5. That's 4 down to the side of DD5,
and they know where the last two are as well. They know exactly where Feeling and Django are, and they're both going to get picked up. No, Django coming out with a huge play, takes down Damizi and manages to get the trade frag, but that is a wipe there for DD plus 5 abs, and they played into their hands perfectly. The issue with that is that we saw Ubercharge versus Critscreek. You know it should win, but unfortunately they were just able to kite the Ubercharge so easily because they popped super early, didn't check the position of the Happy Farmers combo, which was all the way behind the point, and they just couldn't extend their Ubercharge all the way forwards to kill Thune. So now we're going to see Thune with his crits just building it up, and we've got somebody sat in the forward spawn here. DD5F with his sniper just trained onto them. He's got a really nice angle here actually. That's very interesting. Is he going to be able to pick anybody? I don't think so, though.
Time will tell. Looking at this, the slow siege coming out of crits actually popped on the side of the Happy Farmers. They're going to see if they can get anything at all. DD5 completely shut down in that forward spawn area, and this is going to be a nice second cap, but this is a massive Uber advantage to work off now. DD5 have this absolutely, and if the DD5 gets up fairly shortly, in fact he is in 10 seconds time, but Bash is so far in, and I think this is the aggression that Happy Farmers, are they just sacking him in to make some plays, or what's going on here? Is the Happy Farmers really trying to take some space in this lobby area, and not really getting much out of it. Uber popped now on the side of DD5, and they're going to be trying to get these frags. Brago picking up Django, however, as he pushed a little bit too far forward, and he make it out of his life here. He picks up the pack.
Great movement.
He does eventually fall, however, to the side of Feeling, but Shocky as well on the back lines, trying to make stuff happen. Isn't unfortunately going to pay off, as DD5 slowly but surely take that second point, and they're I mean, still looking at this now, Sideshow, this is are they still running Crits Creek? Indeed they are. This is a massive crits advantage on the side of Happy Farmers once again.
And it looks like they're going to try and put this one onto Relio, given that Brago just died and is trying to get his spawns. Schoberg may get caught out here, but Relio's trying to take this one forward. They need to spot out the location of Admirable before they commit with this one, so they're just going to push people on the left-hand side. Relio's going to spot things out. They've seen where Shappy's holding, and now it's on Brago. Is he going to be able to get it? The crit is popped. Shappy, though, completely dodges it, and Bash goes down, trades for Feeling. The crits has got absolutely nothing so far, and Django and DD5F are still in behind, causing havoc on the flank. This is a completely failed push here from Happy Farmers.
Yeah, they're just positioning is so bad now. Django picking up one frag onto Shocky, most likely going to pick up Fun as long as nothing goes disastrously wrong, and in fact he does. Pistol whips him to death. Well, I say pistol whip, he just pistoled him down. But now it's just Bash up alive now on the side of Easy Farmers. Damn Easy is going to get that forward spawn as well, but DD5 really looking like they're in control this entire game, if you don't mind me saying. I mean, is it too early to say that?
No, they definitely do. They look They look very good on this map, actually. Oh, they have spotted out Dameezy as well, so they're just checking all of these corners, making sure that they efficiently go through all of the angles. And we've got a little pause here, I think, to just discuss what we've seen so far. Then the map is halfway done here. We've got 15 minutes left in this first map. The score is only 1-0, but I agree with you that it seems like DD plus 5 abs have been in control of this map. They've spent the majority of the time hammering on Happy Farmer's last point, and they've managed to work almost all of these situations favorably with their Uber charges or their crits. And quick on pause as well, so Brago's going to be attempting to control the cargo area, but this Uber charge is going to come in. I think Admirable's going to be trying to work this one in without using. They're going to try and save this one for last, so Admirable milking it through here, feeling, just making sure there's nobody hiding in forwards. Brago's taking a little bit of damage, but it's Django who's going to fall first. Brago's taken so much damage, doesn't actually fall, but they've sacked 2 players in for it, and now the Uber charge is popped. They're going to try and take this one forwards to last, but no, they're just backing off. I was going to say that's a bit of an overextension if they were going to try and shove that one all the way forwards. Now they have to watch out for Thune and the rest of the Happy Farmers taking this one back onto second.
Yeah, and now really just being caught out in that choke point, going to be getting some decent spamming as they are trying to back out of that toxic area, I believe it is called. But really now, this is looking like the advantage being held in these Happy Farmers' hands, and they are certainly happy with this. They have a massive Uber advantage to work off, can play it any way they like to really bring this back to a respectable 1-all scoreline. And as I say that, Uber being popped, DD5 action on the back lines, picking up Brago. Mental plays by him. That was absolutely brilliant, picking up the demo man, and that's going to really stunt them as they're looking to repush this Showberg a little bit too far forward maybe. At the same time, Shappy picking up that frag onto Bash. Eventually DD5 falls to Shocky as well, and there's just frags going all over the place. Shappy's been completely caught out of position by Dameezy, picking him up quite easily, and it's 3-all on either side. Both medics still up. Admirable we're holding with quite a sizable advantage, I must say. But really, I mean, this is quite sloppy from both teams on that mid-pipe.
I believe that's where the pause came in, so there may have been some problems there,
right.
but
yeah.
It was bad decision making from DD plus 5 abs anyway, because they only had 1 player committed to the point there, Happy Farmers, so they thought that they would be able to repush it. Unfortunately, they repushed from the area that Happy Farmers were. Instead of trying to kite them and move around through Toxic and get an easy entry back into mid with their Uber charge advantage, they just tried to shove it in. And now the Ubers are equal, so Thune is going to pop his off first there. This is a nice Uber for DD plus 5 abs, but it's all about what they can get done with it. Relio's fairly weak in the back lines, but Bash is fighting all the way in behind. He's found 2 incredibly weak players, but isn't actually taking the engagement, and Showberg comes back in and destroys them. In the meantime, the Happy Farmers have managed to come in and swarm over everybody. This fight is just mental. There's so many players falling on either side. 3v3, it might just come down to some sick individual performances, and Brago hits the pipe, so Showberg is going to fall, and now they're just able to just collect everybody on Happy Farmers, cap off the second point, barring a huge play here from Shappy. He's going to bomb in. He's going to see if he can pick off Thune. He hits the first sticky. The second one.
My God.
Oh my God. Oh, unfortunately not. He had the plan out there, waiting to end the German medic's life, but couldn't quite find it. That was decent movement by Thune, actually, even though he's often scolded for his bad positioning and movement, and was in fact cut from the previous German team because of it. That was an opportunity for him to redeem himself, and he doesn't die.
That's going to be absolutely vital now for the Happy Farmers. They've got this massive Uber advantage to work with. They're going to wait for it, wait for these buffs, build it up. DD5 getting some forward spamming, but ultimately this is going to be looking like an Uber push by the side of the Happy Farmers. They are slowly but surely working their way in. They spotted the sentry, a lot of spam by Feeling, as actually Shocky picking up DD5 straight away. Sentry is getting spammed out, but healed up in the timely fashion. Is finally going to go down, but it's delayed so much of their Uber, and it's paid off in its fullest. Brago and Rayla falling so weak. Feeling picks up 1 frag. Showberg as well on that heavy off class is really putting in so much denial. Already picked up 1 frag, and Admirable finally pops up the Uber, being forced by Shocky, but that's 2 frags as well, followed up in very, very quick fashion. And now Fun, 1 man against the world, trying to do his magic against Django, and that ultimately is going to fall to his pistol once again. So this is going to be quite a nice Uber advantage by the side of DD5 to work off, but yeah, and they definitely got a player advantage as well.
So Happy Farmers there didn't take any ground with their Uber charge, got forced incredibly early, and then had to deal with a sentry and a heavy. Oh, actually, Dameezy's in, and he's managed to find the first rocket. Was perfect onto Admirable. Hit him right in the head and just forced Admirable into a crouch. He was paralyzed in position, but he got taken out before he could deliver the final rocket. So Admirable is so lucky there to escape with his life and keep that Uber charge advantage. Looks like they're going to be working their way through Toxic. But yeah, Happy Farmers definitely need to change something in how they're approaching these last point pushes, because their Ubers are doing nothing.
Ooh. Yeah, and they've just picked up Rayla there on the flank, and that is going to open up so much room for them now. Feeling to get a little bit of peek, a little bit of information for his team, but ultimately this is a massive advantage on the side of DD5, and they also have the player advantage, so this could be an easy midpoint, unless they do something completely wrong, which could happen
so
with the position.
separated though,
yeah,
Bren.
this is so far apart. They actually managed to pick up Shappy as well, who is really just far behind enemy lines, well, behind his own lines, and there's a fight kicking off on two sides here, as DD5's all the way on this midpoint, trying to pick up any frags he can. He's all the way in the air, and oh my god, he just market gardens Fun, slams him into the ground with his shovel, and there's no coming back from that one, Fun. I'm sorry, my lad. LOL coming out in chat. What the fudge?
That was a huge play, because otherwise Happy Farmers had absolutely strung DD5 out, fought them on two fronts, got a huge backcap going, and they still had their combo alive. If DD5 doesn't pick that up, then Happy Farmers are in a great position to push second, like almost immediately, and he saves them so hard.
I'm honestly speechless at that play. I can't even talk. Shappy's taken so much spam already from Brago, and this is looking so poor actually from the side of DD5. Admirable has fallen. Brago also picking up a frag onto Django as well. DD5 in that upper area trying to make something happen. Gets off one rocket onto Fun. Unfortunately doesn't hit the second one, so they're still going to have this advantage to work off. So much aggression there. In fact, I completely missed that push because I was just absolutely gobsmacked at that play. He was on such low HP. I'm still going to talk about the market kill because it was ridiculous, but take me away, Sideshow, as they're beginning to really work their advantage into this last point.
They do, they have 95% and they've got so much ground as well. This is what they couldn't do last time, is get all the ground before they pop off the Ruby Charge. They pop it off literally on the point, and they're just going to farm the DD plus 5 apps team there. They reaped that one. They went in and just cut them down like barley in a field. They had no chance.
Loving the farming puns coming out in full force, but this is going to be round 3 of CP Reckoner, the first map in the Season 24 Preseason Cup. This is Happy Farmers, of course, against DD5, and this is going to be a very crucial mid-fight, and this could potentially translate into the winner now. Both teams really going to be playing this very carefully. Quite passive plays from both teams. Shocky so far forward, trying to make something happen onto that point, but really, ultimately, Bash taking the aggression to them, trying to get our spam off, and both teams really just waiting for one side to act over the other. It's looking like Happy Farmers slowly but surely taking the initiative. DD5 actually picked up damn easy, but everyone's weak. Double bomb coming in from both soldiers on the side of Happy Farmers. Picks up Admirable. An absolute ridiculous play, and that's going to be no heals on their side. And they're slowly but surely just cleaning them up completely.
Oh.
But looking at that, that's a crucial frag as well onto Fun. My goodness, that was absolutely ridiculous picking up the medic there in that situation.
Yeah. There was only one way for them to save that catastrophic mid-fight there, and that was just to balls out aggression onto Thune. He took a big rocket at the beginning, but then all of the other players were getting eaten up fairly well. Unfortunately, Django just runs in right at the last moment with the last little portion of his health and does manage to secure that fight. That frag, sorry. So both of the teams did lose their med. They're still trying to pile this one forwards here, even though there's a lot of players still alive and respawned. Shocky's still in behind. He's going to be coming in behind. Actually, does get eaten up though, but all the rest of the players from Happy Farmers are in, and Relio's going to be able to find his frag. Surely he's just bopping around. Does pick up DD plus 5 amps. Kills both of them. And Thune picks up a frag as well onto Django. The only silver lining for that is that Thune did go down, but surely this is a round off the back of that. Only Shappy left to defend the point. It is possible here. He's got the stickies, but 3v1, there's only so much he can do, and that is going to be a 2-1 there in favor of Happy Farmers, and they just bossed that second fight. Shocky, sorry, in from behind, causing the distraction, opened the things up for all of the rest of their team, the Happy Farmers team, in from Toxic, and swarmed onto them. Big plays.
Absolutely. Now, my 4-2 prediction is slowly but surely coming true. Now, 7 minutes remain on this clock. This is, of course, the 4th mid-fight we are watching today, for this map at least. And once again, this slow and steady aggression. Shappy trying to get those early stickies off. Not really doing much, but there's so much damage already coming out from the side of the Happy Farmers. Shocky very far forward, managed to pick up Django on the back lines, and that's going to create an opening for the team as the big bomb in by damn easy. Tries to make something happen. Admirable gets one rocket claimed onto him. Unfortunately not enough, as Brago's just picked up the pill onto him anyway. And that is 5 down now to the side of DD5. Big bomb coming in from Feeling. It's not going to be enough. Ultimately, completely destructive force that Happy Farmers are, just cleaning them up on that mid-fight.
They seem to be way more coordinated than DD plus 5 abs on these mids now. They're playing one of their sides, they're just clumping up around Thune, Shocky and Brago are doing work for them on the mid fights as well, and Thune even put in a frag of his own. He slung a crossbow bolt across the map, and Shappy went down, so now they have full ubercharge advantage. But they are going to be facing a sentry heavy and sniper, so this one's going to be interesting to see if they can take this out, or whether they will fall. But the sentry hasn't even been built yet, so that's catastrophic, really. Django going to be completely wasted on engineer, and switches class without walking into spawn! So Django kills himself! Oh, who was it? DD5F kills himself.
Yeah, it was DD5F, I believe. He just completely suicided, and now that is ultimately going to spell his team's defeat, as there are just 2 men against the world. Django on 18 health. It's not going to be enough, and now it is 3-1 to the side of the Happy Farmers. They've just completely exploded in these final minutes. Good God.
Well, that one was certainly an interesting attempt at a defense. They don't even set the sentry up. One of their players suicides. That was, I mean, it had the makings. I could see what was going on in their heads, but poor execution. That was really terrible from DD plus 5 abs. And now it's all on the line here. 5 minutes left in this map, and they're 3-1 down. They need to come up big on these mid fights. They need to shut down Shocky and Brago.
Yeah, and it's going to be really crucial to see if they can make anything happen. Feeling very big bomber, but at the same time, Damizi on the back lines picks up Django. Schoberg also following up. Bash picking up one frag. Shappy also picking up that pill onto Rayla. And now look at this now. Feeling as well, trying to make something happen. A lot of damage. Brago picking up so many pills. And his team just cleans up. Brago, the absolute monstrous force, hitting these beautiful pipes. Eventually just destroys them on this mid.
Booties are overpowered, Bren.
Oh, of course, yeah. NATF2, Giggle. Jesus, come on, guys.
No, but when you've got somebody like Brago who's just got that phenomenal deathmatch, he can just turn the tide of the fight. Obviously, I'm joking about the booties situation, because they are an incredibly powerful unlock. But you can see there why so many demos prefer to use like a primary weapon that does damage, because the loose cannon or the pipes, you can just sometimes turn the entire tide of a fight around.
Absolutely. Now this is going to be quite a sizable advantage, only about 20% on the side of Fun. Shappy is actually going to fall to the side of Shocky as well, and they're just really losing all these players trying to hold this last point, and it's given so much room to breathe for the side of Happy Farmers, as they're just happy to walk all the way in, feeling with his last ditch effort trying to make a bomb in, but he's just getting completely shut down. Oh, so much damage already, and looking at this now, it's completely destroying them.
It's all on Shappy. There's only one person who can save this.
Hits up one sticky, two sticky, hits up the free kick, and he's actually managed to pick up Fun as well. What a gamer! My God, completely destroyed them. What's happening?
Oh, what is going on here? And now Shocky's going to try and take him in a 1v1, I think. See whether Shappy can take this one as well.
I can't breathe.
No,
I cannot
unfortunately
breathe.
he doesn't, but what was that defense from Shappy? Oh my God.
It was just mouse 1, mouse 2, mouse 1, mouse 2, and clearly
and then
just,
the pipe
just paying
and the
off.
pan at the end
absolutely,
as well.
yeah, just so much AoE damage, and Fun apparently as well. He dropped and we completely missed that, so really poor play coming out from the Happy Farmers. DD5 picking up that free onto Damizi, as he does crater eventually, but this is 3 minutes remaining now, and DD5, they do have a slight chance to work off. If they really pull up their bootstraps and get to work on this mid, they can really make something happen here, Sideshow.
This is going to be super tough for them. They really only have a minute to take this round. They have to be absolutely rolling here, especially... Oh, and nice, that pick onto Brago, and they've already found the pick onto Shocky. The crits is popped as well, and Thune is caught just on the very edge of that crit streak. Unfortunately, there is a backcap going on at the same time, and Bash is actually going to get that. Oh, this is curtains. Bash has just secured that for them, for the Happy Farmers team, with that incredible head.
DD5 is up, however. Look at the nest now, but it's him against Bash. Can anything happen? This team has actually backed him up as well. And
I don't think it matters, Bren. They have bought so much time for their team there. Yeah. All Happy Farmers have to do is tick down the clock, and they can secure this. They have 2 minutes in order to get 2 rounds, and they're just going to have to absolutely blitz it now. Schoberg, Shappy, and Admirable are coming in from this under area, but Happy Farmers would have to throw monumentally in order to lose this one.
Shappy picks up that peel onto Rayla, but not before bringing down Admirable, and I think that is the final nail in the coffin. That's going to really slow down this inevitable push. They have won this mid eventually, but with no medic, they're not going to have this Uber to push with, and they have 1 minute 45 seconds to take 2 rounds in. Is it possible, Sideshow?
Technically, I think, but they have to just wipe them from here on out and then have the second round be absolutely stellar. And with Schoberg falling here, Brago's got a bit of position. He is going to get jumped and shook down to feeling, but this fight is just not as not as deciding as it could be, and I think Bash really there has to be given the credit for saving his team from an otherwise incredibly sticky situation, because that back cap there onto second, just abusing the really fast cap time of the second point on this map, and DD plus 5 abs weren't covering the flanks properly because they were just so focused on pushing forwards as fast as they could. So great heads up play from Bash, and the momentum in this game just swung about halfway through, because we were talking about how DD5 abs were in control of this game, but they couldn't put the rounds on the board. They only managed to get it to 1-0 after 15 minutes, even though they were looking fairly good. But Happy Farmers, as soon as they got in control, were just slamming round after round.
Absolutely, and it was around the time of that tactical pause there coming out. The momentum, as you said, completely swung around. This game is still kicking off, however. DD5 really trying to bring this to a respectable scoreline. Shocky now picking up one frag onto the side of Schoberg, and he's behind them now, and this is going to be easy clean-up duty for the man in Germany. And look at that, picking up one frag, and he pick up the fourth. I think he's going to, and indeed he does, finishing him up with the pistol. Complete wipe on the side of DD5. 16 seconds remains. GG is called in chat by Damn Easy. This is going to be a 3-1 scoreline, Sideshow.
Yep, absolutely great stuff from Happy Farmers. They turned that one around, just flipped it on its head. And as much as Admirable was mixing things up with the crits and really not having that much success with it, that was the point at which they were in control. They were playing those crits versus Zuba situations far better than Happy Farmers were. And I feel like as soon as they just decided to scrap that and go toe-to-toe, they were getting bossed at mid-fights, second pushes, last pushes they were getting destroyed in. They weren't able to pop Thune early enough as they were coming into last, but I think really for me, the area in which this map was decided was the mid-fights. Happy Farmers turned it around after about the second round, and they were just slamming on every mid. There was no cohesion from DD plus 5 abs. They were just sending in a single solo bomb, another solo bomb, and then just backing out and getting obliterated with their backs against the wall. So I don't know what changed for them, but there was a huge difference in how the mids were going at the beginning of this map and the end.
Absolutely, yeah. We do have logs coming up now, so everyone can take a gander at that on your screens at home. And we are gonna, well, I'm gonna sort it by damage per minute, and straight away, Shocky is the first man that stands out to me, putting in an absolute incredible effort with 306 damage per minute on Scout. Very impressive displays by him on the mid fights, as we saw. So, I mean, really well played by him.
Brago as well is doing so much damage, 354 DPM, but also getting a lot of the kills, and I imagine that's because most of it's coming from his grenade launcher. Actually, if you highlight Brago, you can see how much damage he did with each of his weapons, and the grenade launcher doing 38% of his damage, but securing a ton of kills as well. 12 of his frags, half of his frags were just like pipes onto people. And if you look at how many scouts he killed 11 scouts. So whenever Schoberg and Django were trying to lock him down, Brago just hit them with pipes, just boom, boom, and they're dead. And there's really very little you can do against that. You just have to like either work on your movement or try and gang up on him with multiple classes. But when you've got somebody who's hitting pipes with that accuracy and on scouts that often, then it's just a monster.
Absolutely, yeah. Raylo actually went a little bit ham that game with his 8 air shots. That it's worth mentioning. Another thing as well, I do see people in a chat mention about Bash's low damage per minute, but you have to understand this is a man who, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sideshow, he's been out of the action for quite some time, and I mean, he definitely pulled his weight that game, as you mentioned. He really secured it in the bag for them with that last minute back cap.
Yeah, that was a key moment for them. In terms of overall performance, I think definitely it was all on Shocky rather than it being an even load between the scouts, as you saw really from DD plus 5 abs. Interestingly, DD plus 5 abs had more frags than Happy Farmers did. And I think that stat might be... So that stat, normally, only by 119 to 118, but that stat would normally indicate that DD5 abs should be winning a lot more of these rounds, and the fact that they only managed to secure one, I think that stat is going to be skewed because in the first half of the map they were really beating them in almost every one of the team fights, every one of the mid fights, but they just couldn't put the rounds on the board. And so I think if you look at the later rounds, Happy Farmers just turned it around. They're just absolutely slamming them in terms of the kills that they were getting. It was obliteration in the second half. It was a game of two halves, even though we didn't have a half time.
Absolutely, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see now if they can really recuperate from that. I believe I pronounced that completely wrong and I butchered it completely, but I'm going to carry on. Yeah. Thanks for helping me out.
No problem, mate.
But the point I wanted to make was it'd be interesting to see if they do manage to come back from that crushing defeat, really, on see if they can really show up on Metalworks, so to speak. The previous game that they played against DD5 and Happy Farmers went a similar way to the first Reckoner map, I believe. I will have to get up the stats later on, but Metalworks as well, I believe, was a 4-0 roll to the side of Happy Farmers. So whether or not they can turn something around is yet to be seen, but it'd definitely be interesting to see. As we mentioned before, they're a team that work on their issues, and they have been scrimming, and I imagine they have been reviewing the demos as well in anticipation of this.
Yeah, it seemed like they had the answer for it at the beginning. It seemed like they were in control, but I think they let it get to their heads, the amount of failed last pushes and failed pushes onto second that they were unable to convert. Because at some point halfway through this game, after they had that incredibly long second round that lasted almost 20 minutes or something, they were at a loss of what to do. They had tried almost everything in their transitions from mid to second and then from second to last, and they just hadn't found a way to crack Happy Farmers, even though Happy Farmers weren't doing anything special on the defense. They were playing it aggressively on the defense, making sure that they pushed out to second every time there was a failed push. So they were just forcing them to take the territory of second and last every time they wanted to secure a round, which I think is a great strategy for that map. This map, however, Metalworks, is slightly different. It's much more difficult to push out from last. Way more difficult. So if DD plus 5 abs can get in a situation where they're wanting to push last, they can try and work a pick, try and run an off glass, see if they can get an advantage before they push, and then attempt to go, what? David just said Shappy just left the ETF2L roster for DD5 abs. I find that slightly unlikely, given that I was talking to him for a long time yesterday about the future of this team and the orgs that he's got lined up and stuff, but he has left the roster and he's not in game on my Steam friends list. He is a really emotional guy, but that seems extreme. And they've brought in news. This is
Oh my god.
history unfolding. This is a car crash. This is a cup that has no prize, only pride. They're only playing for pride, Bren. But somehow they've unlocked full tilt.
I'm once again, I lack the vocabulary to really put my mind into words. What's he thinking, leaving the team like that? I mean, clearly he must have been salty, and as you mentioned, he is an emotional guy. I don't know him personally, but this is definitely a sight to behold. News on Demoman playing for DD5. Questionable. I mean, given everything that we've just been told, I can't see DD5 taking this, to be honest. They are playing with a Demoman who I'd imagine hasn't been playing with them in any scrims that they've done for Metalworks at all. I could be wrong. Again, I haven't really scoured their logs profiles, but
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
and also, Shappy is more of an individual demo man than News. News would be a good role player within the team and has potential to become like a decent Premiership demo if a team took him under his wing. But at the moment, he isn't as good as Shappy. So this one, I mean, you got to give it to Happy Farmers, especially after that. That's certainly interesting. So it looks like we're going to be going live very shortly. We've got 12 players on the server, but not the same 12 we started with. And wow, this is very interesting for the future of DD plus 5 abs, because this is a team full of super dedicated players, but really quite emotional players. So
yeah.
Maybe, there's a few headstrong people in there as well, like Shappy feeling, Admirable can be as well, if he feels like the team is underperforming. He'll give them the tough love, the stick, not the carrot, but maybe Shappy took a bit too much of the stick and decided to go find a carrot somewhere else. The carrot has been farmed, as DavidTheWin said. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But we're going to be going live very shortly. This is the second map of our ETF2L Preseason 24 Cup between DD plus 5 abs, who are the current Premiership 4th place team, despite having a few roster changes, and Happy Farmers, who are a potential ETF2L team for next season in Premiership. So far, giving them the Charles Dickens.
I just want to say, I want to see some great copy pastors coming out in the Twitch chat about Shappy leaving. If there's not some within 24 hours, I'm going to be very disappointed. But this game is going to kick off Map 2 of the Season 24 Preseason Cup. It is, of course, Metalworks being played. Bit of a disgusting map in my opinion, given how dark and grim it is, but a couple people like it. I'm not sure who they are. I think they've got a bit of a...
Jackie Legs.
Yeah, Jackie Legs being one of them. But this is the mid-fight kicking off. News getting there much faster than his counterpart, and there's already that decent sticky spam, decent damage, but he's already been spammed all the way out. Shucky actually falls immediately to Schoberg, and that could be an absolutely ridiculous pick for them if they play it right. News also picking up Rayla. So this mid-fight is looking absolutely ridiculous for the side of DD5. I did not expect this in a million years. He's still...
Django's so aggressive as well. He's trying to put damage onto Thune, and Thune may get caught. Admirable and DD5F have both gone down to Bash, but they have picked up their counterparts on Happy Farmers. Bash now taking a 1v1 against Schoberg, looking like he gets a better end of it, but Schoberg calls his boys, and in come Django and Feeling to finish off that frag. So when all is said and done, that was a decent mid-fight from DD5 Abs, but they overextended a little bit with Admirable and ended up getting him killed. So, could have been played slightly better, but overall I think they'll be happy with that one.
Do you think that this mid-fight was really a consequence of the teams not really practicing it much, rather than
I think
them being more dominant? Or?
No, I think that... well, perhaps Happy Farmers haven't been practicing it very much, but that actually looked like a pretty slick mid-fight, if I'm going to be honest, from DD5Fs. DD5F had a really nice double bomb that got in behind them and separated Happy Farmers. News was really fast to the mid and made sure that he had a lot of control. He was backed up and they took down Shocky really quickly, so I think that was a well-executed mid-fight. But we did see that last time from DD5Fs. They had some really well-executed mid-fights for the first 2 or 3, and then they just all fell apart. So let's see how they choose to push into second as well. This one can be quite difficult, but they've managed to find a pick on Bash. That'll open things up.
Absolutely. Feeling getting so far forward, getting so much damage onto Damn Easy. He's dropped very, very low. 12
DD5
HP.
has found the Uber Force.
Whoa.
He bombed in super fast there, and Django's managed to get behind as well, so they're getting split up all over the place. Django's going to come in, back in, gets onto Thune. Shocky's been found as well. Ubercharge has been popped, but they could potentially take this one all the way to last.
Yeah, and Damies is going to try and escape with his life. I think he's might going to fall. Indeed, he does, to the side of Feeling and Schoberg, the dynamic duo on that flank area. And now it's just Brago and Bash. A few spawns coming up. Full and Shocky going to be alive when this is coming in. But this is really DD5 just rolling deep. News has actually ate so much damage from those pills, and this is really just going to fend off the aggression. News actually does manage to pick up Brago in the end, and Feeling taking down that sentry gun, so
News
they could still
this.
play this. He does indeed, and he's eager for it. He's hungry like a hound. Shocky, so much damage already onto Schoberg in that under area, getting a lot of damage off. Rayla finishes him off actually as well as Feeling. Eventually DD5 drops Shocky, so this could... No, I think DD5 definitely want to back out of this. Indeed they have. Not really paying attention too much. Terrible caster, Bren, what are you doing? But this is...
Well,
yeah,
they kept Admirable alive, so they have that 40% Uber advantage. So they're going to be going for a push almost instantly, and Bash has only just spawned now. So he doesn't really have time to build up another sentry if they want to go in with it instantly. But if they take any time at all, then it's going to be an Ubercharge wasted. They're going to come in on the left-hand side right now. They're going to find that sentry gun just peeking straight at them. On the other side, Shocky has got a sniping angle onto DD5F. Going to pick him up, but they managed to move all the way to the point here. Unfortunately, this Uber does not look good, and the counter comes out from Thune. And Bash gets the flame kill onto Admirable. And on down.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're just absolutely destroying DD5 completely. Shocky picking up that side onto Feeling, but before actually picking up Fun as well. So not all is lost for the side of DD5, as they did manage to hold that last, but unfortunately losing the medic there. It was a great play by Feeling. I do see in the chat people copy and pasting the Shappy chat log. I'm not sure if it's been faked, but him just saying, I just can't stand Feeling anymore. So there you go.
It would make sense to me. They are kind of both headstrong, emotional players, and as I said, I think the addition of Feeling into the team was slightly questionable anyway, and the fact that they had to cut Honey in order to get Feeling in, and now have potentially lost Shappy, whether this is true or not, but have potentially lost Shappy because of Feeling as well, that doesn't seem like a very fair 2-for-1 trade to me. Bringing in one mediocre Premiership pocket and subbing out 2 of your better players, but we'll see what the future holds for DD5 Abs. For them at the moment, they're 0-0 in control of mid and looking to push.
Yeah, absolutely. This Valley Alley area, however you want to call it, is definitely in control. Was in control actually of the Happy Farmers, but Showbiz get very far forward, getting some crucial information. And here comes the Uber, popped straight away by Feeling. He's going to try and make something happen. Actually picking up damn easy. DD5 as well on the flank, picking up Shocky, and that's 2 picks now for them as the counter bombs are definitely there. DD5 gets some nice damage off onto Rayla. Uber eventually being popped now by the side of Happy Farmers, and they're going to see if they can clean up any frags at all. Django has fallen. DD5 still up in the air, has been forced all the way back out by a nice little rocket by Rayla there, but ultimately I think DD5 just really backing out. News is so weak, and this is really just crumbling under the pressure, if you like, by DD5. They're not being able to crack into these holds.
No, it is a difficult push, but they're not going to be happy with that one. And now they've got some spawners that are going to be slightly late to the... It looks like Happy Farmers want to commit to this one. Shocky's already in through the choke. Damis is going to be making some space as well. Bombs in, pushes people back a little bit. A nice other bomb as well. They need to get the damage out, though, here onto DD5 Abs. News falls, though, and that's really going to set them up. Admirable's got stuck in as well, but somehow manages to wiggle his way out. And they've got control of mid. Brago hits a fat pipe, but Django's going to take him down. And they need to secure their position on this mid-fight. They just fed in. They fed into those choke points into lobby and all getting picked up. DD5 Abs will be...
They're still in there,
looking
at this. Uber being popped now by the side of DD5, and Rayla, they might not even pick him up. I think he's escaped with his life out of the alley. Actually, Django's chasing him down, but there's already the pre-fire rockets, and I think he might just get out. Indeed he does. So they didn't even pick up any frags at all. They have secured that point, and look at this. The counter Uber coming out by Happy Farmers as they're slowly but surely working their way in. I think they've just, they backed off. They got these players behind they need to take care of first. Feeling's going to go down. Django's still on that flank area. Is going to try and 1v1 against the entire team, but ultimately going to fall, and this has prompted the push actually by DD5 as they're just trying to make something happen. They need to pick up fun here, as Admirable did fall in that engagement, but DD5 still behind. It's really just trying to buy team, trying to buy time for his team. DD5 ultimately falling as well, so this is looking
DD5
very
might
nice.
Need to buy a team after this, depending on how many people leave. They'll be looking for some cheap players on the exchange market.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very well played by Happy Farmers. Shocky actually picking up a nice frag onto Sjoberg there. Admirable taking a lot of spam, but this is going to be 100% Uber advantage to push off. Admirable only on the 30% Uber, and they're really going to be happy with this. They're just going to wait for their buffs and to take this any way they want. They need a miracle now to really save this now. Uber being popped now onto that flank area, and they're going to try and make something happen. Sentry gun just going up. They haven't spotted it just yet. Admirable being forced down by Rayla. If he manages to pick it up, this is going to be absolutely brilliant. A lot of caps. I'm already on the point, but ultimately they do manage to take it. It is finally 1-0 to the side of Happy Farmers.
It is indeed. So, unfortunately, once again, even though they were in control for the majority of that round, all it takes is one slip-up, one failed push into second there from DD plus 5 Abs, and Happy Farmers are able really just to roll it all the way through. So, we'll see what happens on this mid-fight, actually, before we call the death of DD5 Abs, because if they perform as well as they did in the previous mid-fight, they've still got a fighting chance in this game. There's still 22 minutes left as well. We'll see if we get that double bomb. We do indeed. DD5 going for the double bomb, but just curling it off. Seeing what they can get done, and Relia falls.
Absolutely. Now then, damn easy's fallen to half health. He's going to have to back out. In fact, he's going to pave his life by cratering. DD5 actually kills himself in the process. News picks up one pipe onto Shocky, following up by Sjoberg, picking up that frag onto Brago, and now it's just Bash alive. Sjoberg's on the back lines, going to see if he can pick him up, but ultimately, this is a mid-fight won by the side of DD5. Definitely too early to call them out just yet, Sideshow.
Let's take a look at what Bash is doing. He's hidden in this area, but I don't think he knows that the shadow is visible there, and just gets spotted out. Going to take a 1v1 against Django now. And thankfully saved there by Sjoberg, because it looked like Django was getting the worst end of that. Shocky is building up a sentry as well, which will be built in time to defend this Ubercharge advantage push that's going to come in. Admirable leading it with Feeling and News. In they come from the middle area. It's popped straight in from that choke point, and they're going to have to deal with this sentry gun pretty quickly. It is dealt with, but they really haven't got much else done with it. Relia feeds in though, and now Damisi is going to be trying to soak up all of this damage on the heavy.
Absolutely. News is doing his darndest to make something happen, but ultimately is going to fall. Bash running down Admirable again with his pyro off class. This guy should play Highlander, honestly. And this is ultimately a last defense once again by the side of the Happy Farmers. It just seems like DD5 really cannot crack into this last hold. I mean, Good old
They
God
need
Almighty.
something before they push. I mean, they know that Metalworks is a really difficult last point to push. They're pushing into a Sentry, they're pushing into a Heavy. You need some kind of pick in order to push that, even if you have full Uber charge advantage, or you need to be able to get the room without forcing your Uber straight at the first choke. And they're doing neither of those. They just pop in and just hoping for the best. That's not a good strategy.
Would you pin that down to them being inexperienced on the map, or...?
No, I think it's just bad decision making from them. They should have enough intel on the map to know that they need more than just an Uber advantage and pop in straight away. It's just bad decision making, I think.
Yeah. Now this is ultimately going to be the Uber in coming now by the Happy Farmers. They're going to be taking the second point pretty much with no contestation. News has fallen, and Feeling is a little bit too far forward. And in fact, I think Brago's completely caught him out. Can he hit these pipes? I don't think he is, but DD5 does it. They don't care anyway. Feeling is going to fall to the side of of Damizi, I should say. Brago falling as well, so that's no damn man for them. Bash on the back lines. Fun picks up that frag onto Admirable across the map. And Django now, absolutely no health at all to defend this last point with. It's just Schoberg and DD5 left alive against Fun, and I think they're going to be able to catch him up. Sideshow here.
They should be able to. I was waiting for a huge play from Thune, but unfortunately not going to happen. The pick onto Admirable, though, from him was really pivotal, because if you keep your medic up in that situation just healing the Heavy, there's no chance that Happy Farmers are going to be able to do that. So he gave them a bit of a fighting chance. Look at this flank, though. This collapse. And they're going to be trading picks left, right, and centre. If Feeling goes down here, it's bad news, and a big bomb in from Demi. He's going to find Admirable.
Oh my God.
And they should be able to push this one all the way through as soon as they go and collect heals. They'll want to push this one. There's 10 seconds on all of these spawns. Or are they just going to play the Uber Charge advantage? Shocky is in on the 1v1.
Oh my God.
He
almost killed News, yeah. He fragged one man, fragging Django. News has actually fallen as well. The team has eventually spawned. Dami's going to try and go for that cap. A little bit of a misplay there, but there's team effort by Brago.
I think
trying
they
to
should have
spam them
committed
out.
to that one. Look at how far back the Happy Farmers are, building this advantage up of 10%, 20%. What are you going to do with that on Metalworks last? They should definitely have committed to that point, because look at the cap time. Look at how close those two players that they baited out were to just securing the round.
Look at this now, the double spy plays. This new rule set being coming into effect. Damn easy and Shocky on spy to crack open this last point. Really
he bumped into him. He just bumped into him, Django. Bumped into Shocky and still hasn't noticed him. Django's going to get caught out a little bit, but just to remind you as well that actually this isn't the new rule set. 2 spies have always been allowed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's 2 pyros and 2 snipers that are now allowed or something with this new rule set in this preseason cup, but let's see whether the double spy strike is going to work. Damn, he comes in and gets the backstab, but he's going to die. And surely now they're not going to expect Shocky.
Oh my God, no, but look where he is. DD5, he's just trying to make something happen. He spotted him. Can he beat this fight? He just pants him down. I say pan, he just shovels him down. And ultimately getting that frag. But
they must have spotted him. They must have seen him out there. But that's poor play from Shocky, because he had all the time in the world to make something happen. Go for a back cap or whatever, but just gives his position away and gets Market Garden to death.
Cutesy little play by him. Bash on that second point. A big bomb from Damiz. He gets in a nice rocket onto Admirable, picking up Bash, or I should say Schoberg in the process, and he is ultimately going to get out of his life as he picks up that pack, and he could go for the play here as the double soldier aggression forces out Admirable. Excellent plays by them. I cannot believe they've just got that. Really great plays by them. And now Shocky, look at him now, trying to pick up that frag, and indeed he does onto Admirable. Doesn't even matter. They get the force, but they wanted the frag as well. So much damage coming out. Django's on this flank area. And
it's on DD5F here though, Bren, to try and make something happen. He hasn't been seen and he's got a really nice angle to get in and make something happen. He misses the first one, but the second one slams it with help from Schoberg. So this is a really nice coordinated flank from Django, DD5 and Schoberg. Can they pick up this last one? Yes, they can. Bash is going down. Oh, Damizi with a big bomb as well. They still don't want to
this
give
is
anything
incredible
up.
plays, yeah. Looking at this, Damizi's on absolute no health at all, and I think he should go down quite easily. Indeed, he does. Admirable escapes with his life. Shocky's still hidden in this alley area. They haven't spotted him. They don't know he's there. And if he can make something happen here, this is going to be absolutely brilliant for the side of the Happy Farmers. There is still 16 minutes remaining on this clock, and it is still only 1-0 to the side of the Happy Farmers. And let's see if they can make something happen here. Shocky, I think, is going to go for that cute little back cap play. But ultimately, DD5 really taking this mid by storm. I believe they have spotted. Yeah, indeed, Django and Shocky are going to be trying to 1v1, but he's just trying to draw some players back, hold off this aggression that DD5 are really playing onto their team. They do manage to pick up Shocky eventually. But, I mean, where do you think this can go, Sideshow? Now they've got this slight Uber advantage.
I think they think it's larger than it is, so they're going to push it anyway. It looks like they're coming from alley here, and This is going to be a nice spam angle for them. Oh, Brago finds the pick. Oh, and then just managing more stickies and Admirable drops.
What a gamer!
Pushing
Oh
Ali
my
is such a
God.
poor decision, though, in my opinion. Whenever we used to play Metalworks, we would never push Ali with an Ubercharge advantage because it's so easy to get spammed. It's like a little funnel. You're just asking to either be forced or dropped or die to a sticky trap or get bombed by Aroma. So I think that was poor decision making, both in overestimating Uber advantage.
Oh
Oh.
my God, that
Well,
was a
that's a
lovely
silver
play by
lining.
him. Yeah, they've just completely saved that for his team rather than them just rolling deep onto that second point with Uber. But ultimately, Happy Farmer's going to be taking this mid point. Admirable with the slight Uber advantage, but I think with the right heals and the right plays, they can save this second point, or can they? As Happy Farmer's just so aggressive, they don't want to give this up just yet. But ultimately, I think they are going to be able to take this Sideshow.
They should be able to make a pick happen here. This is the play from Happy Farmers. They need to learn from their previous mistakes, pushing Metalworks last, and indeed DD5's previous mistakes as well. And they need to be able to work a pick.
Look at him easy! What in God's name? He just jumped in front of this. I don't believe he's just got away with that. He literally just skipping a hop over his entire team's head and manages to pick up the frag. So that's no medic for them. 100% Uber advantage being played now on the side of the Happy Farmers, and this should be an absolutely excellent play. Now, this should be an easy push Sideshow onto this last point. I cannot see them
really
holding
should.
this.
They need to play the cap time, and the stickies are dead. They just need to bait everybody down there and take the frags. They're doing so much damage. This is an excellent last push. But, oh, we're feeling
my God.
shotgun, and they
Oh
couldn't
my
be
God.
able to
Oh
do
my
this.
God.
Oh, Thune had the opportunity to clutch. But damn easy, surely going to pick this one up. No! Schulberger as well going to be able to get that frag. This is throw after throw. These two teams just don't understand how to push. Where was the playing the camp time there, baiting people down and getting the frags on the point? No, none of that. Happy Farmers decided, oh yeah, we want to push to your spawn and try and get the frags, and not play the camp time at all, and give you guys an opportunity to crush us in a choke. I mean, that is appalling decision making from Happy Farmers on that last point. If you play Metalworks last point, you're blocked off on most sides by a gigantic wall. It's so difficult for them to actually come to you, and yet none of them played the cap time. I mean, poor from both teams at the moment, pushing last, and that's why with only 30 minutes left, we're still only 1-0 up. Ooh, DD5F is checking the crit streak, and he has found out that Thune is running it, so they're going to be prepared for this one.
Very heads-up play by him. That was actually a really nice play. I like that a lot. So they are going to know that they are running this crits into this last point now. The aggression is definitely there. Django picks up Brago. That's going to be no crits for you, my good man, as they are slowly but surely just kiting them out. Uber eventually popped out now, and this is really room to breathe, and they're going to search for these frags and search for them. They will. Shocky is hidden behind that pipe area.
And Admirable Zuba's going to go. Oh no, he's got the patience. It's a really nice hiding spot, actually.
Patience of an owl, as Bash just throws his life away to the win there.
Are owls known for being patient?
I believe they wait for their prey in the night, so I'm gonna stick with that analogy. Yeah. So
well, Shocky's certainly waiting for something, but I have no idea what it is.
He's still
because
just there.
It doesn't look like DD5 are going to push out, so he can't go for the back cap, and he gave up his opportunity to go for a med pick. So I think Shocky might just be AFK.
He's just gone to get a drink, gone to get a bit of dinner. He's so close and shocking. Oh my goodness, he cannot get away.
Only a sniper
Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. He's getting the back cap. I think he's got it. Indeed, he does. He secures the 2-0 lead. That is it. What a man. He's got balls of steel waiting that long. I think most players would just you know, get tired, get impatient. I think that's what most scout mains are known for. They just want frags.
He asked his team then just to sack some players in and back off, and the interesting thing as well is that Happy Farmers were actually getting the better of the engagement on second as well. There was only 2 players left alive from DD5 Abs. Even if Shocky hadn't got the back cab, they would have been crushed. So it was all bad news there for DD5 Abs. However, their mid-fights have been the glimmer of hope keeping them in this game, so let's see whether they can pull out something similar again.
Oh my god, damn easy, so deep, already picking up a lot of damage onto News, ultimately going down to Django, however, and this fight is still kicking off, hitting off so much damage. Django actually picks up Brago as well, however Shocky picking up that frag onto DD5, and Rayla on the back lines managed to pick up Admirable anyway. He doesn't really give a shit. That's fun now, holding with this 60% Uber advantage. They have ultimately won this mid-fight, but let's see, Sideshow, if they manage to get away alive. I don't think they are. Oh my
Thune
god.
goes down. Bash is going to attempt to make this one happen, but he's alone, just wiggling his way around. Does manage to take down Schoberg, and Bash is going to try and collect the health here. Is he going to be able to find Feeling as well? Oh, wow. The 2-for-1 trade there from the German scout. Pretty good work from him. But once again, DD5 pick up the mid-fight and will proceed to throw the round if it follows the similar trend that we've been seeing this map. They are doing really well on the mids, but they just cannot make these pushes work.
Absolutely now, and they're going to be
only
building
10 minutes left.
Sizable advantage, however, on the side of DD5. As you said, yeah, rightfully so. 10 minutes remain, only a third of this map time, and still DD5 need to bring 2 rounds up to the belt if they want to have any chance of bringing this to a golden cap and potentially get a bit more pride on the line. So, I mean, we could still see this going to Snake Quarter. It's definitely possible, but knowing this now, this 20% Uber advantage, I believe, coming out. But, I mean, Shockey's on heavy, hiding around this corner. I don't think they know this. This could be absolutely detrimental. He finally peeks and shows himself, which is going to really force them back a little bit. And the Uber advantage has just disappeared into thin air.
Shockey running heavy is just maximum BM. It's already a super difficult last point to push, and now you have both soldiers putting spam, Brago putting spam and stickies, and then you also have a heavy to deal with. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack for DD5 but they have to do it. They only have 9 minutes. They have to make something happen, and Happy Farmer's playing really regimented, not giving them a pick.
Absolutely, and you know, they're more than happy to really park the bus in this situation now. With this 2-round advantage, they know how hard it is to push into the second point. I think they're trying to peek it out, trying to search for these frags, ultimately trying to make anything happen at all in that lower underpass area. But look at this chokehold just being held to absolute perfection by the side of the Happy Farmers, really just spamming it where it counts, forcing them all the way back. And this is interesting now. I think this is the Uber in. They want to make a play happen, and indeed they are. As Schoberg is the one to get Ubered in. Uber actually popped out by the heavy, by the Happy Farmers. Shockey actually picking up that frag onto Schoberg in the end, and this is really just falling apart for DD5. They don't want to drop any players. They're backing all the way out.
During that push, the entire point of that Uber charge was to get Django in behind so that he can sandwich at the same time. Unfortunately, he's just going to get bodied. Chooses the worst timing to engage, runs into a heavy and then into Bash. So, and the unfortunate thing about that push as well, the Uber charge, was that Schoberg seemed like he lagged out at the end of that push and just got obliterated by Shockey. Evisceration is the word of the day here for the Happy Farmers as they push forward with their heavy once again. They are harvesting Elo, if there was Elo to gain.
There's definitely a lot of pride on the line, Sideshow. And
harvesting dreams.
Harvesting dreams, yeah, the tears of their enemies, so to speak. Uber is going to be popped out by the Happy Gamers. Still no Uber to be found on the side of DD5. Django on that sniper, going to see if he can make anything happen. No deaths, no casualties so far. As I say that, lots of frags being exchanged, in fact, as they've already dropped 3 players on the side of DD5. They do have this Uber to contest the second with, which is going to buy some time, and if they can get any frags at all, it's going to be brilliant for them. But look at Shockey, still running this BM heavy pickup, really just destroying Feeling under, completely smashing them into the ground. And now this last point, damn easy on it, is completely fending them all the way off. Schoberg just gets out, but Bash picking up that frag, and if he manages to pick up an Admirable, which he does with his pistol, and that is going to be 3-0 to the side of the Happy Farmers. Jesus Lord Almighty.
If I'm DD5 in this position, then I want us to be doing the exact same thing on the mid-fights that we've been doing, because it's been working. Players, when they're losing, tend to want to switch things up on the mids, because that's the first thing that happens in a round. And if you're losing the game but still winning the mid-fights, it's generally a bad idea. You want to be running with what's been working for you on the mids. So I'd be running the same strat on the mid-fight, but just trying to push much faster forwards as soon as you've won the mid-fight. News is actually running the Quickie Bomb launcher here. Is he running booties as well? I don't think he is there. So he's just trying to put out as much damage as he possibly can. Unfortunately, they have been destroyed on this mid. They weren't able to get the early pick on either of the scouts. Damn easy's bombed in and done a ton of damage. And,
someone's left.
Schoberg has gone to spec.
Ghosting the team.
Yeah, just making sure that he knows what medigun they're running. No, he must have just misclicked something. I assume he was trying to change class there and just hit a spec bind or something. But that is not good there. That's a mid-fight that they cannot afford to lose. With 5.5 minutes remaining, they're not even in control of the mid, and they're certainly not in control of the game. 3-0 down.
The only thing they've got going for them is picking up fun there on that mid-fight. I believe you did mention that. Damn easy actually picking up Schoberg there on the flank, feeling with the counter-frag. So ultimately, they are slowly but surely pushing into the second area. They know they've got this sizable Uber advantage to work off. It's whether or not they beef this is to be said. Now, Shockey, once again in that valley area, going to be getting some crucial information for his team and calling out their positions. And really, still the ball is somewhat in DD5's court, but the pressure is definitely there.
And with 5 minutes left, even in such a choke pointy map, they have to be making things happen. So they need to be moving now. On 90%, they should be starting to make their way through the valley, trying to capture these people in the valley. Damn Easy's an easy pick if they can get onto him. That's really nice. And then pushing their Uber as fast as they can into everybody. Brago's found a pick onto News, though, unfortunately, so they are a demo down, but Brago's positioning is really poor, and he's going to get picked up as well in the trade. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to find Thune. They didn't understand where he was at any point there. And I don't know whether Brago did either, because Thune's positioning was actually very good. He's managed to get out. They haven't used their Uber though, so this is now equal Ubers as they push into second. Feelings all the way in.
Absolutely. Oh my god, getting that force off was an absolute disgusting play. Uber now going to be popped by the side of DD5 as they're looking to get these frags, and they've completely caught them out. If they can pick up even one person, it can be worth it. But oh my god, look, yeah, the entire team's there, and they've managed to finish up one player. News actually falling as well. DD5 going to be trying to make something happen there, but Shockey and Bash are going to be ultimately taking this, and they've just created so much space for their team. It doesn't matter if they don't survive this. They've completely drawn them all the way back. And now look at this, the sandwich plays coming out. If they can really follow up from this, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Brago hits off one beautiful pipe onto DD5. Does get arrowed up, however, so he is onto full health once again. But this is looking incredibly good. Both scouts, superior game sense coming out in full force there.
Shockey and Bash have been doing so much work for their team, both with heads-up plays like we've just seen there, where they are able to get behind and flank and create havoc, and create situations where DD5 abs are forced to make really difficult decisions. And they've also just been absolutely fragging the entire game.
Oh my god, Brago!
Destroying people, and now they're going to get the force onto Admirable as well. So this is really excellent stuff here from the Happy Farmers, but DD5 abs are walking into it as well. You got to wonder, if this was on normal maps, would the situation be the same as well? Would we still be seeing Happy Farmers with a dominant performance over what should be the fourth best team in Europe? I mean, this is very, very interesting stuff. Both of these teams will be competing in the upcoming third DreamHack Summer Qualifier as well, so we get another opportunity to see how these two teams stack up against each other. But at the moment, it's just dominant from Happy Farmers. Only one round in the entirety of this best of 3 has been secured by DD plus 5 abs.
Now 2 minutes 30 seconds remain on the clock. 3 rounds down for the side of DD5, and really an impossibility now for them to bring us back to a golden cap and potentially go to that coveted third map with all that pride on the line for both teams, really. They are really going to be fighting this out to the end, going to be going for those juicy frags, those juicy log damage stats. Rayla escaping with an absolute sliver of HP. As I say that, Django just brings him down with just a touch of the scattergun, also picking up Shockey in the process. So DD5 just putting in work, but at the same time, a little bit of a throw coming out by the Happy Farmers, as Shockey did off-class the Pyro for that entire last push there.
Yeah, they know that the game is in the bag. There's only 2 minutes remaining. This is essentially dead time at the moment. Happy Farmers have managed to secure the victory in 2 maps. They were scrumming Snakewater, but they didn't even need to. And it's unfortunate as well that I don't know whether we've really seen Snakewater played that much or tested that much when it's one of the maps that will definitely be played in the next season of ETF2L. So I think that was a questionable decision by the ETF2L admins not to put Snakewater, not for it to be tested a little bit more, but no matter. It's an interesting cup as well to see how Reckoner and Metalworks have panned out, and Happy Farmers have come out on top. They can make the claim as the best team in Europe on Reckoner and Metalworks, I guess. Although a lot of the Premiership teams, we should add, weren't playing in this cup, which is why these two teams have met in the grand final.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that they did take it partially seriously, though. I mean, Chappie leaving was very unfortunate, and ultimately what could have been on this map.
Deadly seriously, bro. I think they were almost too serious about it. If your emotions are getting riled up that much by a cup where there's no prize pool and you're playing on maps that aren't even going to be featured in next season in all likelihood, then good lord, you're putting a bit too much into the team. But at the same time, I think it's more to do with the Mumble atmosphere, if I'm honest, which is going to be pretty interesting. We could be seeing some roster changes. We might already be seeing them.
Yeah, mid-game, absolutely. I'd love to get Shappy in the Mumble to hear what he said for a post-game interview. Don't know how feasible that is, but yeah, this is going to be ultimately 3-0 to the side of the Happy Farmers. They do take it in 2 maps. Very dominant showing, and a little bit of a little tingle, a little sprinkle of drama coming out in this game between these 2 teams. It was definitely very interesting. We saw some incredibly hype plays on Reckoner. Shappy with
that
his
clutch from Shappy
ridiculous
was
clutch.
unbelievable.
Good lord, yeah. I just didn't have words for it. I just like devolved. Is that even a word? I devolved into just some sort of mammal.
Screaming chimp.
Absolutely, yeah. But this is GG called, and they ultimately, Happy Farmers, take the preseason Season 24 Premiership Cup.
And you got to say that puts them in great contention for being added to Season 24's Premiership team, Premiership table. Because with only 1 spot left, there's going to have to be some kind of playoff system, because Top 5 Rocket are wanting to get in there, although their performances in Cups in the off-season really haven't been as good as the other Premiership teams. There's also Baguette Foolery, who are probably going to be trying to get into Prem. There's this team, obviously. So this is it's going to be a really interesting off-season, or rather pre-season playoff cup. Let's take a look at the logs though for Metalworks and see who was delivering, because what I'm interested in is how the soldiers for Happy Farmers are working, because they seem to be playing kind of a support role, both of their soldiers. Relior's getting a decent amount of frags, although his damage isn't really at the top, and Damizi's getting a reasonable amount of damage, but they do tend to be, or seem to be, playing kind of more of a supportive role, with Bash, Shocky, and Brago being the real power players within the team. It's really, you would expect that given the caliber of the players and the history of them. All of them have played at the top level. In fact, have all of them... No, I don't think Brago has won ETF2L or like a major tournament before, actually. I think the last time he played at the top level was with the Infused, Cracklands, Abatsu, whatever you want to call them, team with Ips, etc., when they were around the second, third, normally third best team in ETF2L around the I-49 time. I don't believe he played in Made in Germany when they won the season a few years back, but either way, they're phenomenally talented players, and they seem to be the ones really carrying the torch for this team. But it's an excellent performance from both of their scouts. Bash has stepped up a lot. If we look at the Ubers, as David brings our attention to them, Thune has 3 more Uber charges and a Kritzkrieg over Admirable. If we look at the deaths of the medics, Ad's only died 4 more times, so there's also something else in play there, I think.
Yeah, something going on in the backlines there that maybe we didn't pick up too much, but as you're mentioning, yeah, the soldiers, I definitely agree with them playing that supporting role. We definitely saw it in this game, very much following up on the aggression of their scouts, and Shocky and Bash had an absolutely wonderful game. However, one thing to mention is, that we saw throughout the entirety of that Metalworks game, is out of the 4 rounds that were played there, 3 of the mids were won by DD5.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Just could not see them capitalise off it at all.
They weren't able to push into second. They weren't able to make any picks happen. They were always pushing through alley area and getting just stomped on, either by a flanking scout, a bombing roamer, Brago stickies. They were banging their heads against the brick tractor, if you'll pardon the expression. So it wasn't working for them at all. The silver lining to that for DD5 Abs is that perhaps when they're on a map that they're more comfortable with, they would be having different and better results.
Yeah. We do have a few interviews once again on the way as well. Unfortunately, we don't have Shappy, but we do have the next best thing, the wonderful Admirable, and DD5 are joining us today for these interviews. How are you feeling after those games, guys?
Yeah, a little bit of, I don't know what you would say, personality clash, disagreement there after the first map.
This is the big drama going on then. Tell us what happened with Shappy leaving before we touch on anything to do with the games.
Oof.
Well, it's just kind of something that came to a head over like 2 weeks of practice or whatever. There was a lot of heated exchange there between Shappy and Feeling, trying to figure out why we lost, but Shappy just decided to leave then. So we got news in as a Merc. Shout out to news, thank you. But like Feeling was kind of on tilt after that, I think, for map 2, but I think overall we were kind of happy with our performance because we got totally slammed yesterday, and like we made some changes to our approach because they kept going behind us on the flank, etc. So we played a very slow, methodical game. But when you play that kind of style, one mistake can really punish you, and that happened big time on Reckoner. And then I think we kind of went on tilt then, and then we had the big argument afterwards, or after the first map. But
so what was the argument about? Was it about your performance on Reckoner, or a disagreement in how the game should be played? Who was main calling? What came to a head?
Well, let me just pick a side here and say that basically Shappy never wants to take responsibility for things. Like when things go wrong, it's just like blaming everybody else. And this has been happening for like 2 weeks. And just that kind of atmosphere really got under Feeling's skin, and he basically called him a whiny cunt in between maps there. So it blew up. Feeling left, or Shappy left the mumble, and everyone was on tilt then. But it's not like I'm blaming Shappy for any time we lose or whatever, but it's just it's a real struggle sometimes to try and identify what went wrong, and he was citing different reasons for why we lost to what the rest of the team seemed to think. So it's some sort of disagreement there, yeah.
An interesting consequence of this, though, is going to be that your Premiership spot is no longer guaranteed. Am I right? Because you only have 2 players from the previous roster. You only have Schoberg and DavidTheWin.
Well, I don't know if he's quit the team or whatever.
Oh, I don't know. Well, he left the ETF2L roster, which
wow.
Yeah, which is why we've been talking about it as if it was a done deal. I guess he could be coming back in and fixing his problems, etc. But it sounds like it's a fairly long-standing thing if it's been going on for 2 weeks and previously before that. So, yeah, that'll be interesting if you guys have to qualify through some kind of playoffs as well.
Well, I think that would be fair. Like, wouldn't want to be a free rider or whatever. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to the team. I guess if Shabby's gone, he's gone. Feelings was talking about it like he was never going to play TF2 again, so I don't know. There'll have to be some conversations.
He said he was going to take a break. I don't think he's going to stop playing.
Do you think that the 2-for-1 compromise of adding Feeling and having to kick Shappy and Honey was worth it in the end?
Yeah, like if it was my choice, and just like based on like how we got on in the game, and like the kind of being on the same page in terms of like how to play the game or making decisions and stuff, I seem to be in agreement more often with Feeling than I was with Shappy. But like the problem is communication. Like Shappy just couldn't seem to tell us what it was they wanted us to do. Like, and we felt like we were banging our heads against the wall there for a week or more. So I think it was inevitable that this was going to happen. It was going to be a big blow up. But I don't think we're going to be seeing Shappy and Feeling in the same team.
What do you think of your opponents? We don't have them here for interviews. I imagine they're off eating schnitzels or whatever they do. It's in celebration. But what do you think of Happy Farmers? They're a team that has formed. They're going to be playing ETF2L next season, although they haven't confirmed their roster. This is the roster that they're currently using. How do you think they would perform? Do you think they're a reasonable team? Was this just a bad day for you? Are they on the same level, above the same level?
Well, like I say, we got slammed by them yesterday, so like we're 4 maps down. I don't think we can throw any shade on them, but they played a very aggressive style. Like yesterday, it was constantly bash and shocky, and damn easy just busting our flank open and getting behind. And we were caught in 2 minds. So today, we came in, like I said, and we just wanted to play a really solid game. If there were people behind, we go back and deal with them, even if we had to give up our Uber advantage or whatever, and try and just minimize our own mistakes or not give them those opportunities. But on top of that, like Thun, even though they do play kind of reckless sometimes, Thun always survives. Maybe that's partly that I overcommit, I should play more like Permzilla. But that was a big problem that they always had that backup, the ace in their sleeve. He didn't survive so much today, actually. We were much better at that, but, I died more than him on all 4 maps, so it was a struggle for us to get momentum, and even when we seemed to have an advantage, there was always today there was indecision because people were on tilt, but we're just working on our chemistry, I guess. But the question then, are they good? Yeah, they look good.
Your team has an opportunity to get revenge, or however you want to frame it, but you're going to be against them in the DreamHack Summer Qualifier, the third one that's coming up next week, so a week from now. Your results so far in those qualifiers, D5, have not been very good. You've been knocked out in the first round both times. First time against, was it Jabronis? Or possibly somebody else. And the second time against Public Clear as well. So what really needs to change for your team in order to start getting these results against teams that, judging by the ETF2L seedings, you should be able to get?
What are you thinking, DD? I didn't play the first one.
I'd say that we just need to get our communication fixed, because it happens a lot that we win the first mid, then we're all hyped. We win the second round maybe, but then as soon as we start losing mids and stuff, then everything just gets a lot more quieter. Especially with Chappie getting upset.
Yeah, with me, I love to talk in games, so even whenever we have these moments in practice or whatever, I keep talking and try and, I don't know, manage the mood a little bit, keep the atmosphere up, but
yeah.
I think it's good that this has all come to a head. It's what do they call it, draining a boil in Sideshow? Is that the medical term?
Yeah.
So
stuffing a lance in there, and then
lancing a boil,
what dribbled out? The puss dribbled out and left the team.
Jesus.
But no, I don't want to because I like Shabby and he's a very talented demo man, but just
I agree.
The teamwork, he's a good demo man, but he could be a great demo man if he was gonna compromise or communicate better with us. But I guess a personality clash maybe between Feeling and Shabby, but it wasn't just Feeling. We all were frustrated with the way Shabby would just refuse to adapt or whatever. Basically what DD said, whenever we're winning, everything's great, but as soon as the first mistakes come in or the loss, whatever, we all go on tilt. But the roster's good. I wouldn't have joined otherwise. I really like all the players, even Shappy, even though he's left us now. I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, just play more, talk about things, map reviews, demo reviews, go to graft.
Well, that'll certainly be interesting when we see these two teams, potentially face up. They might not even meet in the bracket next week, and then in some kind of ETF2L playoff system as well. Thanks for coming to talk with us. Bren, any final words?
I don't have any questions at all. Would you like to move on to the shout-outs?
Yeah, go wild, kids.
Okay. I'm going to jump in before the players in a non-traditional setting and say shout out to my mid-sixes team for winning the Preseason Cup. Well done, guys. I know you had it in you. Yeah. They only win when I'm not playing, but yeah, this is well done to you guys, and a shout out to the Dan and Joe Martin twins as well.
Admirable, D5.
You wanna go first?
Sure, I'll shout out ETF2L because I always give the admins a hard time, but this was a good cup, well executed. Shame there wasn't more Prem sign-ups or whatever, but great to see new maps being looked at. Well, I say new maps. I'd like to see Reckoner thrown in there as a bit of a wild card for the next season. Shout out, of course, to our casting crew here as well. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Shout outs to all the Critcast people, Pooler, Jumpers, whatever else. Whoever I don't remember.
From me, it's ETF2L have opened up a new poll, and basically they're trying to gather feedback for Season 24. So that's feedback on maps, feedback on unlocks, etc., any rule changes, whatever your heart desires. So I've put the link in the chat as well. You can see that at etf2l.org, and you guys can go and give your feedback if you're a registered user on ETF2L, which I imagine most of you will be. And if you're not, then you probably should be, because it's the biggest league in Europe. So you go there, give the admins your feedback, and yeah, a shout out to Omnibombulator, who has created a lovely new HUD for us that you guys have been able to see. So if you got any feedback on that as well, then throw it in a TFTV thread. Otherwise, it's a goodbye from myself and Bren and the rest of the Team Fortress TV crew here, and we'll see you next time for some European action, probably next week.